Hey everyone, Rob from Southgate Media Group here. Before we get started with this podcast, we have a quick message. If this is your first time checking out the show, we love that you found us and we really hope you enjoy it. What we have to say is for the subscribers. If you enjoy our shows, would you please donate to help keep these going? We don't want to have to put traditional ads on these shows, but this does cost money. So we really do rely heavily on donations. To make a donation to the show, please go to our website, www.southgatemediagroup.com. Go to the page for the show, and in the upper right-hand corner is a donate button. It takes you right to PayPal, and you can donate whatever amount you want. Thanks a lot for listening, everybody. And now, on with the show.
Welcome to Before the Bat, the Gotham podcast. Well, it's just me right now, Phil, because what you're about to hear is an interview that Kelly and I did with a talented young new actor, Cole Vallis. You'll know Cole from the episode of Gotham Mask. He played Tommy Elliott, the bully who was picking on Bruce Wayne. And like I said, Kelly and I sat down with him and we had a really great time. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the interview. For everyone who will be listening to this later, we're talking to Cole. How do you pronounce your last name?
Vallis.
Vallis, okay. We're talking to Cole Vallis. You may know him from he was on Gotham. He was Tommy Elliott, the bully who picked on Bruce Wayne. So what's up, Cole?
I'm pretty busy right now after Gotham. Just a bunch of auditions. I actually fell behind in the show, so I gotta catch up before Monday.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I know.
That's a problem. That's a good problem to have. Too much stuff to...
Yeah, too many auditions. Good.
Have they mentioned anything to you about maybe coming back on the show?
I want to keep that a little quiet right now.
Oh.
I guess we can see later. Just hush hush.
Cool.
I like the sound of that.
Me too. We gotta have some Tommy.
Hey, you're one of those rare breed like Jack Nicholson, Tommy Lee Jones. You're actually taking a punch from Batman.
Yeah. When I was on set, my director said the coolest thing to me. He came up to me in between the scene where where we were fighting, and he said, "You're living every child's dream right now. You're fighting Batman." And I stepped back for a second, and I was like, "That's a really cool quote."
That's awesome.
Because that's what I was wondering. Your fight was pretty quick, so was that all you? Because I know when we talked to Todd Stashwick last episode, he said he had to stand in, and because he's like, I didn't want to hurt Ben McKenzie. And...
With a sword.
Yeah.
That was actually all me.
Sweet.
We started to plan it out, and they said, all right, let's film, like, very quickly. And I was a little nervous, because I've never done a lot of stage fighting before. Mm-hmm. So I was just inside the house, like, revving myself up, like, I'm about to do this. I'm about to fight Batman. And it seemed to go pretty well. I mean, it seemed pretty convincing to me.
It was fantastic, especially the after you get punched and, the whole scene back and forth with the, remember I almost let him kill you, That was fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, your whole performance in that whole episode was good, because that, like I say, I know it's a good performance when I forget that you're an actor playing a role. I was just like, oh yeah, that kid's a jerk. Yeah, I hope Bruce hits him again. Then I was like, oh wait, yeah.
My friends at school were saying to me that it wasn't really me up there, and I was like, really? I guess I did a good job.
That has to be a surreal thing, going to school and being an actor. That just has to be really weird.
It was a little weird, just walking in, and then everyone saying, "What's up, Tommy?" And I was like, "That's not my name." Oh, I get it. Okay. Like, it took me a minute to realize what happened prior.
Yeah. Well, and it's probably been a length of time from the time you film it till the time it airs, and
Yeah, so it was about a month, I think.
And you've probably done how many projects in between?
Not many,
auditions,
actually, but
really?
Auditions in between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see how that could kind of be weird.
It is a little weird, but I get used to it after a while, and then it starts to become a little joke, and it's very surreal.
So are you the cool kid in school then when you walk in and everyone's seeing you on a TV show?
I guess so. I guess you can say that. I mean, you get a little more attention. Some substitute teachers saw me on the show, and they were, like, very nice to me all of a sudden. So, yeah. I guess you can say I was a little more popular.
Yeah, because, I mean, that's not even cable TV. That's one of the big four networks.
Yeah.
I just know how weird it would be. My daughter's, well, she's going to be in high school next year, and I could just imagine how just odd it would be. So I had to ask that. And I'm sure it kind of can make things interesting when you have filming schedules and stuff to deal with and school. I mean, do you just work in a tutor, or you just make up the work later, or how do you do all that?
I try to keep school and work fairly separate, but sometimes it does interfere. Like, during Gotham, I had to miss 2 days of school, and my teachers were very supportive of me, actually, which I'm very lucky to have. And they gave me some work to do while I was over filming. So while I was in between shots, I was doing some math homework and doing some biology. So I just kind of keep it separate from school.
Yeah. Very cool.
Because you live in New York. You live in New York?
New Jersey.
New Jersey.
So you've got several other projects I see here. I don't know how much, or can you talk about any of your projects coming up?
I'm still just auditioning right now.
Okay.
So hopefully something can come up I can talk about. Right now there's nothing that is coming up that I can talk about for now, but I've previously done a bunch of independent films and some commercials. So it all leads up just to this moment in Gotham and just to take me forward in my career.
Sure. I mean, being on the big networks is always very cool. Good exposure.
You have to take your little projects that you do and work your way up to the big stuff.
Exactly. I noticed here it says you did a pilot win. I have not seen that. Can you tell me a little bit about that project?
It never got picked up.
Okay.
We're still pitching it, and it was a show pitched to HBO and Showtime. And I was the main character in the show, and we were a baseball team. Mm-hmm. And it was a story about a travel baseball team with parents who are overly crazy about their kids.
Yes.
Being amazing at the sport. And I'm a star baseball player, and a lot of stuff happens, and I get a black eye in the show, and person gives me a Percocet to take. I start getting addicted to Percocet, and then my coach gets arrested, and then it just stops there, and just see on later.
Sounds like a pretty bizarre show.
Yeah, it was pretty bizarre, but it was very interesting.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, there's lots of traveling teams here. We have tons of youth leagues, like for traveling baseball and hockey. So yeah, I've seen those parents. Thank goodness I'm not one, but.
So I see you've done a lot of voiceovers and jingles, and so are you a singer also, or?
I was a couple years ago, and then my voice started to change. And I started to step out of it a little bit. It's always a decision to go back into singing, but right now my career is where it is right now, and I'm very busy to just get into a spot to start singing again, because that's a lot of work and preparation.
Hear, hear. I'm a musician, so.
Oh.
And let's see what else. You play basketball?
Yes, I actually have a game tomorrow, so I'm very sore. I've been working out all week with basketball teams because we've been gone for a while for holiday break.
Right.
So we just started to get back into it, and it's been a rough couple of days.
Have you won any championships or anything?
Last season in the winter, we went undefeated and won 9 league championships.
Wow.
Over each weekend. This year, we're 1-0. Tomorrow, hopefully 2-0. But I have not been to a national tournament yet. I still want to stay local, so I can't travel too much because of what I act. So
sure.
Yeah. Local tournaments is where I'm playing right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, basketball will only last you so long, but acting, you could act till you're 90.
Yes. And I guess basketball, I would say, is a slimmer chance of making it to the NBA.
Yeah, there's probably fewer NBA players than there are actors. Very true.
So, what was your favorite acting job?
Oh man.
Did you like doing the TV? Do you like doing TV better than like?
I think movies are a lot more free because you have a lot more time to do a movie. You have a set number of days to do TV. In movie, there's no date where the show has to come out. You can spend years on a movie, but you can only spend 5 days on a TV shoot. So I guess movies are much more fun. I don't know if fun is the correct word. They're much more laid back, and you can relish the moment more and really dig into your character. But in TV, you have to be there and be set and get everything done in a good fashion and still make it good, which is always, I want to say magical, because I don't know how we do it sometimes. Just to step into a scene and be there in the character.
And so often the scenes are shot so out of order.
Yes.
That's what boggles my mind, is how you can do it out of order and it still come out to be a seamless performance.
Luckily for me, I got a chance to do all of mine in order. So right when I walked on set with that wide shot and I said, "Hey, Brucey," was the first time me and David, who plays Bruce, met for the first time. So that's the first time eye contact.
That makes it magic. That works. That makes it work very well.
It does.
And is it fun to play the bad guy per se?
Oh, it's very fun because I don't get to do that in real life. So I can be a different person.
But I know I wanted to ask you, when did you know you wanted to get into acting?
Well, when I was about 8, I took a workshop to just see if I liked it, because I've done one performance at school. I was in the junior musical being Kaniki in Greece. And I loved it when I went to that workshop, and it just all snowballed from there. And now I'm signed with Don Buchwald agencies for commercial and TV, and I've just been studying all the time. I went to London to study at the Central School of Drama, and I study at Strasberg Institute in New York. So I have to say I do like it.
You're pretty immersed.
Yeah.
I know, because I know when I was like emailing back and forth with your mom, she's like, "He doesn't have a big resume." I'm thinking, he's 15 years old. Yeah, he's in school. I mean, I remember I had a part-time job when I was in high school. I had a part-time job at McDonald's, and I don't know how I did that. I'm like, I couldn't imagine acting.
Yeah, it's very time-consuming, and I just got to get everything done. I've grown up a lot quicker, I guess. I don't know. I've had to mature quicker, but I feel like I've stepped into that role pretty well.
I was a musician and I traveled for a lot of competitions, and I had the same experience where, sometimes my sports or my other activities would have to take a back seat if I wanted to dedicate time to my craft,
Yeah.
And it's all a balancing act, and I think it's a really great thing for someone when they're young, especially, to have something like that they devote themselves to, because it really helps you when you're an adult and you're having to make decisions,
Yeah.
But is there any other TV shows you would like to be on?
All of them.
I think you really have your eye on. Like, would you like another comic book type series? Like, would you like to be on Flash or Arrow, something like that?
They're very cool because on set everyone seems to know what's going to happen, but you have to act like you don't know who you're going to be later.
Yeah.
So when I was Tommy Elliott, I didn't know I was going to be Hush, or am going to be. But now I know it in my mind as Cole Vallis, but I don't know it as Tommy Elliott. So
yeah.
It's very interesting knowing your entire backstory, and that helps because you don't have to create it on your own.
Yeah, that's why I think we're coming back, because they were in the comic books. They were friends, him and Bruce Wayne. So.
Yeah, and it was very helpful reading your article that you wrote on him. It was amazing, I have to say. I would love for you to write my research paper on Richard III. Might not be allowed to do that.
I know a lot more about Hush than I do about Richard III.
Now, if only there was a television movie, right?
Yeah.
That was accurate. Yeah, it's so much easier when you can watch it, I think. Or read it in a comic book. Please.
So do you so do you have your eye on any colleges or?
I love New York, so I would like to go to a college in New York. NYU is always an acting big school.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if I want to specifically go to a college to major in acting. I might want to do something a little more practical, just in case something might happen and I have something to fall back on.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like the school of Syracuse. I might go there and major in engineering and physics, but otherwise, I'm not sure yet. I got a couple more years to decide.
Oh yeah.
That's a good thing. Take your time.
Yeah.
The school there, do you plan on acting when you're in college as well? Or you think you're going to go on hiatus for a bit?
I do plan on acting. Hopefully school isn't too difficult to juggle, but I feel like I've been able to do it for this long, I can keep it going.
Sure.
So I might minor in acting if I do end up going to a school that has that choice.
Mm-hmm. You can always double major too.
But
I did that.
So any so did you get offered any dates after people in school saw you on Gotham?
Not really. Maybe they were a little scared. But I'm kind of glad about that because it's always an awkward situation. I have to say.
What? Just you're worried about they're looking for the fame and fortune?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe they only like me because I did that.
Or maybe they just found out about you because you did that.
That could be it too.
Yeah. I don't know how big your school is. My daughter's is like over 1,000 in her junior high school. So like, she doesn't know half of her classmates. So I can just imagine,
My school, I think, is pretty big for a high school. I think it's 2,000 kids.
That's pretty good size.
Yeah, like 400 per grade almost. Because there's 100 from my town alone. So, and all 4 towns come together in one high school.
That's...
So 100 in my town and probably 100 in all the other towns. So, yeah.
That's a big school.
It's pretty big. I know most of them, I think.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I've got around and I've met everyone.
That's awesome.
But all right. Well, you studied abroad and you do voiceovers and jingles and all that. Can you do accents?
I am working on that.
Ah.
I have not been able to do an accent for my entire life, but I do sometimes take some courses with a teacher at NYU, and we work on. Right now, we've only worked on English accents, and I've only had a couple classes, and it's not going too great, but I'm still working on it.
Yeah, I've always wondered like how those people just like slip so easily into like English accents or
Scottish accents.
Yeah.
When I see my other acting friends do it, I'm always amazed. I'm like, you gotta teach me.
Or even the other way around when the English come here and they put on an American accent, it's like, well.
Yeah, that's very interesting. When you see them in a movie and then they do an interview and they're not speaking the same way.
Yeah. David Tennant comes to mind for me.
Oh, that's like
Scottish to English.
Yeah, that's like on The Walking Dead. At least 2 or 3 of those actors are English, and yeah, they put on like a Southern American accent. I'm just like, whoa.
Mind blown.
Yeah, that's a talent.
But what actors inspire you, Cole?
Oh, my all-time favorite actor is Al Pacino. I've watched almost every one of his movies. I've seen him live on stage, and he is so amazing. I can't put into words how I feel about him. I don't know.
Oh yeah, just The Godfather and The Godfather 2 alone.
Yeah, my favorite is Dog Day Afternoon. Because it's basically just him.
Yeah.
And it's just in his mind. Ugh.
And like, what are your favorite TV shows right now?
I'm watching a show on Netflix called The 100. and I just recently started watching it. I'm almost finished with season 1. It's about a couple of kids. It's about a civilization after an apocalypse living in space, and they send 100 people down to Earth to see if it's livable. And I don't want to give anything away. Just a lot of stuff happens. I guess.
Yeah, it's a fun show.
Yes.
That is a show.
I watched Breaking Bad was one of my favorite shows
Oh, that's
that I watched. It's very good. I'm in The Walking Dead.
Oh, wait till you get to this current. See, they're on 5 now. That is a show. It just keeps getting better and better with every season.
But I think that's mostly all the television shows I'm into, and of course Gotham. That's a good one.
Of course.
I gotta catch up.
And what would be your dream role?
I probably want to relive someone's life as in like modern day me. Like when I look up to, for example, Al Pacino, I want to relive his life and do a documentary on him.
That
I
would be
guess.
cool.
Yeah, I feel like just stepping into someone's shoes like that. I don't know if Al Pacino specifically, but that's just an example.
Or even just like a movie or something that's based on a true story or something?
Yeah, just to step into someone's life and be them. Yeah, instead of a character created by a writer, someone that is real.
Would you ever be interested in like writing your own work and starring in it?
Maybe. I feel like I tried to write some stuff, but they felt very cliche. It's a very difficult thing to write a show
Yeah.
and make it and not predictable.
Well, they say the best
'Cause
practice.
you have to bring something new.
Yeah, they say the best thing for writing is just to keep writing every day, no matter how it feels like it's coming out. Just write.
Yeah. My English teacher makes us do that. Yeah.
Good for her.
Yeah, because you get enough of that in school.
Yeah.
I always like writing with someone else as well. Having a partner to bounce things off of is also very helpful to get rid of the cliche.
Yeah. I always thought about someone reading it, but I don't know. I'm only like 13 pages in.
Mm.
And it's very cliche.
Hey, get through it, you write it out, and that's when you go back and clean it up.
Yeah, weed it out.
So, I know what else I wanted to ask you. Before you were on Gotham, how familiar were you with the Batman universe and the comic books and everything?
I didn't read them very much,
Okay.
but I knew Batman's story, knew Batman himself, and how he became Batman, because just from my parents, like my father, and going to the Batman movies sometimes. I didn't know much about Tommy Elliott when I got the script. It just said Tommy on it, so I couldn't really find anything out. I just knew he was a bully.
Couldn't Google him.
So after I found out, after I got the role, I read up about him on Wikipedia, and I wish I had your article. I wish I stepped across it, because it's very in-depth. Stuff I've never read on the website.
Oh, yeah, I mean, if they bring you back, I mean, that could be a very meaty role, because, I mean, Tommy, tried to kill his parents, and
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff.
He's kind of messed up.
I have friends who are comic book fans of Batman always telling me stuff about him. I'm like, yes, I've read about him, and then I would say a fact, and it might be wrong, and they would yell at me.
Is there any kind of movie genre you'd like to do that maybe you haven't done before?
I've done a lot of drama, but I really love, dry comedies that they're not labeled as a comedy, but they're very funny. Analyze This is actually labeled as a comedy. Stand-up guys, or kind of like The Godfather, because there are some funny moments in that. Just like those dry comedies that Christopher Walken is so good at, and all those guys.
Cool.
You wouldn't be interested in any sci-fi or?
I don't know about anything specific like that kind of genre. I don't know. Sci-fi would be very interesting, because I feel like that would be a lot of green screen work and a lot of imagination. Yeah, I've done some green screen work for a movie where I was just talking to a dream creature, and I had to just imagine it the whole time that he was there, because there was no one there. no object standing there. That was difficult.
Yeah, even to keep your eyes focused on a specific point, that would have to be difficult with
Very
no
difficult.
analog.
Yeah, we had to put some tape there to help me
Here is the X.
Yeah.
Very threatening piece of tape.
Yes, very thin.
I just can't imagine doing motion capture and green screen. To me, that would be probably the most difficult part of acting.
I would agree with that, definitely. There's nothing there, you just have to be in the moment, look at everything, deal with everything, but I work on that a lot when I go to Strasbourg. We do a bunch of stuff like that, try and remember moments back in our lives from when we were 7 and relive them, and like feel everything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That would be very surreal.
Yeah. Some feelings sometimes come up, but we don't go too far into it because we're only kids.
Sure.
So when you're an adult working on the Strasbourg method, you start to feel some deep emotions. But right now we're just working on the top layer.
Mm-hmm.
You studied in London. That was only for the summer.
Yeah, I studied for 3 weeks in London, and we did a show. It was what was the name of the show? I know I'll remember. But it was ironic because I was bullied in that show. And it was like a week before my Gotham audition. So it was actually helpful to do that.
Very fortuitous.
Yeah. And I met a lot of people down in London, and they're all actors, and they all have London accents.
Did you
I
have
can
to
understand them most of the time.
Did you have to do the accent when you were in London?
I worked on it a little bit. They said it was bad.
Well, no, it all depends on what part of England you're in, as to and what part of England they're from, as to the accent, of course.
Yeah, most of the kids were from the area I was in, but the teacher was up near Scotland, so it was a different accent.
I have a good friend from Manchester, and they have a very posh-sounding, interesting dialect of English there. It took me about 3 or 4 weeks to be able to understand her properly.
Yeah, I know that feeling sometimes. Like when I would order something at a restaurant in London, I wouldn't know what they were asking me. Like, do you like pizza? I didn't understand.
Would you like chips with that? What?
My mom had to help me out, just decipher.
How is the food over there? Good?
I'm sorry?
How is the food over in England? Good?
It was good, but it's definitely better over here, I think. I'm just more comfortable with American food. It's not very different, but I feel it was more fresh. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I just go to the right restaurants.
I was gonna say it's probably way better pizza where you live than in England.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We have the best pizza over here.
And is there any directors you like? Is there any directors you would like to work with?
Any director that's really in the business, I love to work with. Because I've worked with some directors that weren't so great. So, like the director Paul that I worked with on Gotham, it's so much different and it's such a bigger step. So anyone really in the business, I love working with. Because they make it so easy for you. And they make you can just act. And you don't have to think about other things.
That makes sense. I would assume it would probably be really good if you had someone directing who had been an actor as well.
Yes, it would. Most of the people I worked with are in school to learn how to direct and never stepped into the shoes of an actor. So they're looking at everything from a director's point of view and not the other way around. I don't know if that's the correct way, but that's how I like it.
Yeah.
And did you get to meet any of the other actors on Gotham, like the ones you weren't in scenes with?
Not really. I only really met Alfred and Bruce. But I did see the Penguin for a little bit, because right after my fight scene, they filmed the scene across the street. I couldn't meet him because they were already filming, but I got to see him.
He's had quite a year.
Yes, he has. He got quite the role.
Yeah.
Yes, Oswald Cobblepot is taken off. Now we need Tommy Elliott to take off.
Yes, we do.
Alright, well, Kelly, do we have anything else?
I think that about covers all I had.
Yeah, I think me too. Alright, well, Cole, do you have anything you want to plug? Any upcoming work, or...
I just want to thank you guys for having me on the interview, on the podcast, and just follow me on Twitter at Cole Vallis. But thank you so much for having me. I love talking with you guys.
Oh, thank you. I mean, it's an honor for us.
Yeah, maybe we can have you come back when we see you again
Hopefully.
on our screens.
Yes.
Yeah, or if anytime you just want to come on and talk an episode of Gotham, you've been on the inside.
Yeah.
And you know where to find it.
Yes, I do. You know where to find it.
So yeah, anytime, just you know how to hold me. Just
All right. Good talking with you guys.
you too.
Good
Thank
with
you.
us too. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Well, it's me again. Did everyone enjoy the interview with Cole? If so, let us know. We can work Cole into a few things that we would love to have him back. So let us know what you think. Should we have Cole back? I, for one, think yes. But email us at beforethebat@gmail.com. On Facebook, we're Before the Bat, the Gotham Podcast. Twitter, we're at BeforeTheBatPod. And you can always get a hold of us on our personal Twitters. I am at NightwingPDP on Twitter, and Kelly is at SuperSquint. That's SuperSquint. And basically any social media, you can find her on at SuperSquint. Well, that's it for now. Tune in next week for your regular scheduled Gotham podcast, because the show is back, and so will we. So until next time, same bat time, same bat channel, the Gotham Podcast.